There's a children's story about a king who dressed as a commoner to see how his people were doing. Things didn't go as planned, but that led the king to take bold action and make changes. Though it's just a fairy tale, it reflects a truth in today's world. Today, I want to share a story that reminds us problems are best solved from the inside. Politicians shouldn't just act for attention or applause, they should focus on real results. Let me introduce you to Ben McAdams, the mayor of Salt Lake City, Utah. He has always worked hard to improve the lives of everyday people. His efforts have made a difference over time, but one big issue remained: homelessness. Many steps were taken to help, including opening special shelters that offered beds and food to those in need. Yet the challenge persisted. However, despite the large amount of money invested in the project, the homeless preferred to avoid the shelters for some reason. And many of them would even rather stay on the street and spend their nights at a specialized center. Discussing it with his employees, the mayor always got the same answer. Homeless people are lazy, and they're simply unwilling to change anything in their life. Ben could probably have taken their word for it, but he decided to do something else. One day, the mayor took off his expensive suit and changed into dirty jeans and a baggy sweater. He left his comfortable office and went to explore the streets and garbage dumps. The tramp in disguise only took his phone for emergencies, a bag with some old clothes, and a piece of canvas. This made him look no different from any other homeless person, and thus he became one of them, at least on the outside. Ben had a hard time at first. Now that he was homeless, he seemed to be invisible. People just walked by and pretended he wasn't there at all. The small donations he got were barely enough for a scanty snack. And since the mayor left his wallet behind, he was literally starving all the time during this experiment. The mayor in disguise spent his first night on the lawn of Rio Grande, a troubled neighborhood known for many beggars living there. Ben tried to find out why the homeless preferred sleeping outside, and one of his unfortunate compatriots casually told him that violence and drug abuse flourished in homeless centers, while the local administration simply turned a blind eye to it. He added that you couldn't just lose all your belongings there, but your health as well. At the same time, the staff often mishandled the residents and demanded money from them. Of course, the mayor took the words of the homeless with a grain of salt. How was that possible? His subordinates had told him that the homeless people were simply lazy and there were no other problems. But Ben wouldn't be Ben if he hadn't gotten to the bottom of it. In order to verify this information, the next night, the mayor in disguise headed to the state homeless shelter, clueless about what he would see. As soon as the newly made beggar began to settle down on his bunk, his compassionate neighbor gave him a few tips. You had to leave your shoes on when you went to bed, so that they wouldn't be stolen, just like other personal belongings. It was also important not to visit the restroom at night to avoid unnecessary problems. Overall, you needed to be as quiet as possible if you wanted to see the dawn. Ben was shocked by this turn of events, but there was more. As soon as the homeless mayor settled in and was getting ready to sleep, he heard a strange fuss in the room. And he soon sensed a pungent smell of illegal substances. But that wasn't all. All night long, strange-looking people roamed the shelter, looking rather like criminals than the homeless. They would casually chat with the staff and the guards. Then they would walk out, and then again. At the same time, the shelter residents were even afraid to look in their direction. In fact, it all looked as if the shelter was living according to its own rules and regulations, and certainly not the way their mayor had expected. Yes, we have to admit, Ben felt ill at ease. However, what shocked him most was the staff's reaction to his remark about the strange-looking people roaming the shelter. Their answer struck him. Stay out of it and go to sleep or leave the shelter. So the mayor spent that night quietly, just watching what was going on that night, showed the mayor what was really happening at the shelters: fights and violence, theft and illegal substances, suspicious-looking people, and the staff's indifference. The mayor saw all that with his own eyes, and he came to understand why it was that the homeless people tried to avoid these places. However, the most interesting thing was that the whole undercover operation, that lasted for 2 days and 3 nights, was kept secret. The mayor didn't reveal it to anyone except his assistant. No one had realized the official's true identity, and the story didn't come to light until 4 months later. For Ben McAdams, it was crucial to understand what was really happening before deciding on a location for a new modern shelter. "I was just shocked," the mayor later admitted. "The letters I had been receiving turned out to be false." He discovered why people were avoiding shelters. According to the rules, guards were supposed to inspect all belongings, and the staff was meant to maintain order, but none of this was being done. A week later, the mayor took action, dismissing everyone involved, from city hall officials to the shelter's director and staff. Following this, the mayor announced he would personally oversee new reforms to improve the lives of the homeless. We can only hope he succeeds. So friends, what do you think about this unique approach to the mayor's work? Do you believe this is how politicians should act? Share your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it with your friends and family. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you never miss an update from our channel. Thank you for watching.